All right, guys, it's a little later than I thought I would be tonight, but here we are. It's time to kind of recap a little bit of what happened today with nominations at the 28th Critics' Choice Awards. By the way, I'm just going to highlight real quick. Hang on a minute. Let me make sure I got my camera on so you guys can see this. It's probably backwards on the thing here, but you done messed up, eh, Ron? I like that one. All right. So let's go ahead and recap here. We'll start with the films that have multiple nominations. Then we'll run down the categories and stuff. Well, actually, no. I'm sorry. I'm going to do it this way. We'll talk about like the 3 or 4 most nominated films, and then we'll go ahead and run down the categories. We'll come back to films that have multiple nominations and stuff, and generally speaking, what's here, what's not here, stuff like that. Because there's always so many slots that you can do here at Critics' Choice, and they expand it, as much as they can in some categories. But it's just kind of weird how some categories have multiple. Some, I don't know if it's just expected now. The director field is just like ever expanding because it's 10 nominees this year. It was 6 last year. It's been 7 in years previous. So I really don't know what the hell they're doing with that. It's just pretty much it's going to be this show already is kind of the Oprah of nominations. It's like you get a nomination, you get a nomination, you get a nomination for a lot of stuff. Almost every category has at least 6 nominees. The writing categories, for whatever fucking reason, only get stuck with 5. Animated is stuck with 5 as well, so it's like, what the fuck? It's like, okay, so you're willing to put in 6 ensembles, sometimes 7, but not 5. You can't get more than 5 screenplays that are worth a damn every year. It's like bullshit. No, it's like, that's not how that works. So, yeah, somebody else can explain it to me. And then other years they'll have like 11 nominees for Best Picture if there's a tie or something. So whatever. I'm over it. So I always just kind of recap what happens, and I'm like, okay, that's what happened, kind of thing. And really of the televised awards, depending on who you ask nowadays, since Golden Globes have gone through their whole pain and suffering here in the last couple of years, probably deservedly so for most of it. I always put Critics' Choice like at the bottom. It's like Oscars are clearly top. SAGs are pretty important. Then you go BAFTA, then Globes, and then Critics' Choice, in my opinion. And when you throw in like the PGA, WGA, and PGA, DGA, WGA, those get mixed in somewhere in the middle there. PGA's nearer the top. Probably just under SAG for myself for what at least the ones that I count like, most relevant to least relevant or whatever. So Critics' Choice is always hanging out here toward the bottom anyways, but yeah. So I guess, and remember too that there are some categories here and there that come in and they put in like, hey, you're also in for this or that, like Best Comedy Film, which is weird. It's like, okay, hold on a minute. They used to have categories, too, where it was like Best Comedy Actor, Best Comedy Actress, or whatever. And then they got rid of that. So they still have the Best Comedy category, which actually, if I'm counting right, 3 films. 3 films that have nominations in Best Picture are also up for Best Comedy, which is like, okay, well, that's, anyway. So I don't count that one. I don't count the Young Actor, Young Actress award because they typically don't follow over, to other award shows. Obviously, you do have Best Picture Motion Comedy, Best Motion Picture Comedy Musical at the Globes, but you don't have like a Best Comedy category at SAG. You don't have one at DGA, Best Directed Comedy or whatever. It's like, no, BAFTA doesn't do that. The Oscars clearly don't do that. So it's like, hey, I will count ensemble though, as I have in the last few years. I think ever since BAFTA started doing an ensemble category, I'm like, okay, I'll throw that one in. So, yeah. Anyway, so, all that out of the way, we'll go ahead and start here with the film that has the most nominations this morning, and that's Everything, Everywhere, All at Once, which tied for second most nominations at the Globes. It has 13 nominations, I should say, scoring in 12 different categories, and again, these are the ones that I'm counting. It's in for Picture, Director, Actress, Supporting Actor, 2 Supporting Actresses, Ensemble, Screenplay, Editing, Costume Design, Production Design, Makeup and Hairstyling, and Visual Effects. So really, this hit everywhere it could, I think, except mysteriously in cinematography, which again, sometimes your front runners just miss that category. I thought that was going to happen last year with Power of the Dog. It did not. It has happened with films like 12 Years a Slave, for example, and Lord of the Rings: Return of the King. So it's that rare category where once in a while there is another film or two that just has enough passion votes over it, to get over the leader there or whatever. But still, 13 nominations is outstanding for this film. I think I'll save, because I've seen this, Nope, and Tar all in the last 3 days. So I'll save my full reviews for the end. We'll just do that, and I'll make sure I have time codes and stuff. So, well, actually, no. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm changing my mind so many times here. We're going to start, obviously, we're going to cover everything here with Critics' Choice. Then we're going to go into the reviews. Then I'll go into my updated predictions at the Oscars, just based off these two award shows, and then a little bit of sprinkling here and there that we've gotten from a few of the critics groups, which I don't have time today, I don't think, to get. I mean, obviously, we'll have like a 2.5-hour video if I go into all that. But yeah. We'll kind of briefly mention those, I guess, for the films, because I think Tar and Everything Everywhere All at Once were kind of the ones that did the best at like New York Film Critics and also at LA Film Critics Awards. Anyway, so yeah, we'll probably do a spattering of that once in a while. Okay, so that one leads. The Fabelmans is in a very respectable second place here with 10 nominations across 9 categories. That one's up for picture, director, actress. It got 2 supporting actors in. It's in for ensemble, screenplay, cinematography, production design, and score. So really with that one, outside of maybe possibly getting into the... editing is the major category it missed. But the only other one I can think of, costume design, I think it's still in play for at the Oscars as well. So I can see that one getting to 12. It's going to be tougher. That's it. Like I said, I'll get to my updated Oscar predictions in a minute here. But I think between the films that are looking at multiple slots in supporting actor right now, I think this is the lesser of the two. This is the one that's going to have the harder time getting both, and it might settle for getting none, like it did at the Globes on Monday. But we'll see. Let's see. So that one has 10. Next up is Babylon, which has 9 nominations, which is up for picture, director, actress, editing, cinematography, costume design, production design, score, and hair and makeup. So this one did fairly well at the Globes on Monday, and it does even better now with inclusions including director. Obviously, you have a lot more technical categories here at Critics' Choice. You only have I guess 2 at Golden Globes. Yeah, so we'll see if Damien, again, we'll get to some stuff later, but Damien getting in here, I was like, okay, I didn't know. I kind of had this one in for a while still, even though we don't have reviews on it yet, and it obviously hasn't opened yet, but I had it in as a potential player here for picture at Critics' Choice, rather, but I did pull it yesterday in favor of, I think I did not have Elvis in yet, so yeah. Okay, then I guess real quick we can mention the next one up has 8, and then I think we'll stop there. And that's Banshees of Inisherin, which is in for 7 categories. That's in for picture, director, actor. It got 2 supporting actors in again. Supporting actress, ensemble, and screenplay. So this one is totally missing from the tech categories, which right now at the Oscars, the only one I have it in for a tech category is for score. And it did get in for score yesterday or I should say yesterday, Monday at Golden Globes. And Carter Burwell, who did the score, he's missed a lot more times than he's made it in at the Oscars, but his last 2 kind of bigger films both made it in with 3 Billboards and Carols. So he seems to be more included here in the last few years. So yeah, we'll see. I think he can easily rebound and get back in. I think we'll see BAFTA's a little ways off. That's probably going to be the next time we see the score category, but yeah. Okay, so that's just the top 4. Let's go down the list here, and we'll say what's in and what's out. So for Best Picture, your 10 nominees are Avatar: The Way of Water, Babylon, The Banshees of Inisherin, Elvis, Everything Everywhere All at Once, The Fabelmans, Glass Onion, RRR, Tar, Top Gun Maverick, and Women Talking. So I think RRR is the big surprise here today. I know it's been since it opened. It's the biggest Bollywood film in domestic box office history and stuff, and it's getting in today over films like The Whale and over The Woman King, especially The Woman King, which had a few other nominations. Got in over She Said, and got in over even Pinocchio or All Quiet on the Western Front. Some of those kind of films that are still lingering around in the Best Picture race, but not everybody has them in yet. Damn, that's a good result for them for sure. And that one ended up with how many here? 5 nominations. So we'll see. I think that one's going to stick around a little bit. We'll see. I'm already starting to see a rush here because it's also in for the directing category. So it's S.S. Rajamouli, or I think it's Rajamouli. Already, a lot of people are saying that's your foreign language film that's in for director this year. I'm still sticking with the guy from All Quiet on the Western Front for now, just because I think that one will have a little more appeal since it's a little more competitive in some of those tech categories. Triple R, really, I think outside of visual effects, which it's also in for here today, and I believe it was on the short list for the Oscars as well. Outside of that, best song is its best shot, and it's not really a threat right now. Obviously, we'll see where some of the short lists come in, but. No, I don't think too many people are predicting it yet for like cinematography or editing, categories like that, where it's like, okay, if you get to that spot, then we can really, more realistically look at that as like a director strike or, getting in for picture and stuff. We'll see. Let's see. Otherwise, so we mentioned some of the films that were out, like Woman King, The Whale, I took it out for Best Picture at the Globes as well. It is starting to look more like, okay, it's going to have actor, it's going to have very likely screenplay, and it looks like it's going to have makeup. Hong Chow, having missed twice already, she's now in question. Director we knew was probably gone a little while ago. Sadie Sink, some people were still clinging on to. She hasn't really gone anywhere, so we know that one's probably done. And otherwise, the rest of the tech categories I haven't heard a lot about, but... That one for picture now is starting to look a little. It's getting a little harder for that one, and I know it is kind of a divisive film, but we have seen divisive films still get in here for Critics' Choice for Best Picture. Films like Vice was kind of divisive. Last year, Don't Look Up was one of the most mixed reception films in the Oscar race last year. That made it in. Let's see, I'm going to keep looking here, just maybe back a couple of years here and there to see what else was kind of mixed reception that was still in there. Joker arguably had a mixed reception from critics, even though it did, really well at some festivals and stuff. And then probably... go back one more year and I'll see if there's any others that stick out, but... Not really. You could argue maybe The Post from 2017, but, mostly positive. But still, there were some people that just were not into that one. So I don't know. I mean, it's up for debate, I guess. Let's see. Otherwise, I think She Said now after really 2 not great performances in the last couple of shows here. For Best Picture, that one is. I think it's getting a lot harder for that one to make it in. Moving on to the director race, you have James Cameron for Avatar, Damien Chazelle for Babylon, Todd Field for Tar, the Danielses for Everything Everywhere All at Once, Baz Luhrmann is back in for Elvis, Martin McDonagh for Banshees, Sarah Polley for Women Talking, Gina Price Bythewood, who I had in at the Globes, she finally makes it in here at Critics' Choice for The Woman King. We mentioned S.S. Rajamouli for Triple R, and of course you got Steven Spielberg in for The Fabelmans. So I think arguably at this rate, the only other one I can see still making a splash here in the directing category would probably be, again, Edward Berger for All Quiet on the Western Front, as long as that one sticks around and is still in some of the competitive categories in tech stuff like, cinematography, editing, possibly score, stuff like that, possibly even in the sound category too. We can't forget a war film. War films tend to do pretty well there in that sound category. Otherwise, I know some people were still hoping that something like Joseph Kosinski for Top Gun could still happen. You have 10 nominees here today. He's not one of them. That really hurts. And don't forget for this one, because I know some people were saying, well, why would you not say that for All Quiet on the Western Front and stuff? Well, was what's his name nominated for Drive My Car last year at Critics' Choice? Hamaguchi? No, he was not. He was not one of the 7 nominees for directing last year. So just because you're not in at Critics' Choice doesn't mean it's done. But yeah, Kaczynski, I'm like, yeah, even though his film is still doing really well, is landing a few surprise nominations here and there. No, I don't see it as a threat for director. Let's see. Going into the acting categories, Best Actor, your 6 nominees here are Austin Butler for Elvis, Tom Cruise for Top Gun, Colin Farrell for Banshees, Brendan Fraser for The Whale, Paul Mescal for After Sun, and Bill Nighy for Living. Let's see. So I kind of hinted at it on Monday. I was like, yeah, Hugh Jackman. Even with 6 slots, I was like, I think he'll get in, but he did not here today. And again, I can see him kind of struggling. I can see him possibly missing SAG, missing BAFTA, and then we'll see if the Oscars do happen to pick him up, since he is a previous nominee and stuff. Sometimes, that happens. Look at Penelope Cruz last year in Best Actress. Otherwise, Jeremy Pope did get in on Monday at the Globes. He's missing here. Diego Calva was also a nominee, but even though Babylon had 9 nominations, 1 nomination it did not get was Best Actor. And I don't know. I don't think he's a supreme threat right now to get in at the Oscars. I think really that 5th slot really at this point is coming down to, okay, is it Jackman or is it Tom Cruise, kind of thing. Speaking of which, I'm going to readjust my rankings here. So because I had Hugh Jackman in 2nd place since the season started. So I'm like, yeah, he's probably not in 2nd place anymore. Moving on to the Best Actress category, 6 nominees here are Cate Blanchett for Tar, Viola Davis for The Woman King, Danielle Deadwyler for Till, Margot Robbie for Babylon, Michelle Williams for The Fabelmans, and Michelle Yeoh for Everything Everywhere All at Once. So Deadwyler is back in after missing kind of mysteriously at the Globes. And both Olivia Colman and Ana de Armas are not here, even though they were both in at the Globes. Yeah, I don't think too many others in the lead actress comedy musical race were really going to be counted this year, big time. Yeah, so far, I know some people early on were excited about either Jennifer Lawrence or maybe Naomi Ackie, Lawrence for Causeway and Ackie for I Want to Dance with Somebody, but neither one is really making a splash so far here. So I'm not saying they're done, but it's looking less and less likely. We'll see. SAG, I think, could be a bounce-back opportunity for particularly Ackie, because at that point the film will have opened, so everybody will have a good chance to see it. Yeah, we'll see. Because, I think, Olivia Colman missing here. I don't think it's the end of the world. I can see her also missing out at SAG. BAFTA, I think, is going to be her big decider, because if she can't make it in at BAFTA... And again, we'll see if they have that weird shortlist bullshit again, and see if she just happens to miss, like she did for The Father, I believe, as I'm recalling right. Yeah, we'll see. But if she misses for that, then I think, I'm probably going to slide, because I still have her in at the Oscars right now. I might either go with Viola Davis or Margot Robbie. We'll see. Moving on to the supporting acting race, 6 nominees here are Paul Dano for Fabelmans, Brendan Gleeson for Banshees, Judd Hirsch for Fabelmans, Barry Keoghan for Banshees, Ki-Yu Kwan for Everything Everywhere All at Once, and Brian Tyree Henry is in for Causeway. So, okay, they did see it, they just didn't go with Jennifer Lawrence. Brian Tyree Henry, I think, has picked up, I think I looked this up, didn't he pick up something this year for Causeway? Indie Spirit, that's right, he's in it, Indie Spirit, that's right. So I think generally speaking, he's in a better position to be nominated than Lawrence is. Boy, Ben Whishaw is kind of getting the rough end of the stick here, though. I know early on some people were excited about him. He's done very, very well across like some TV awards in the last few years, but it's getting tougher for him, especially with Women Talking. Even though it did bounce back a lot better here today at Critics' Choice, it needed some of these nominations to stay super competitive, like director, like picture, where it missed at the Globes. Getting at least 1 acting nomination, which we'll get to here in a second, helps it. But his candidacy in particular, I think, is starting to sink a little bit more, and Barry Keoghan's is rising now, I think. Brad Pitt was also he was a nominee at Golden Globes on Monday, as was Eddie Redmayne. Both of them missed here today. I think in favor of the 2 from Fabelmans. Otherwise, the other 3 that were here today were outside of Brian Tyree Henry. They were all at the Globes. So yeah. Supporting actress. Your 6 nominees here are Angela Bassett for Black Panther, Jessie Buckley for Women Talking, Carrie Condon for Banshees, both Jamie Lee Curtis and Stephanie Sue for Everything Everywhere All at Once, and Janelle Monáe is in for Glass Onion. And hers was a candidacy I wasn't really looking too hard at. I haven't seen Glass Onion yet, but it's like, especially the first one, it was such an ensemble film, and I picture it's going to be the exact same way here for Glass Onion. It's kind of tough to see an individual nominee stand out, with the exception last time of the comedy musical categories at the Globes, where it's like, okay, yeah, Daniel Craig made sense. And even though I didn't predict her, I remember Ana de Armas made sense, for that, because they were kind of more or less clearly the leads in the film and everything. But, and we did see, again, Daniel Craig made it back in this year. Otherwise, let's see. Claire Foy, again, has missed both of these early televised shows, so I think, again, her candidacy is definitely starting to shrink down a little bit. Hong Chow also, especially with The Whale underperforming in some of those other top categories. I think her candidacy is getting really, really hard. Carey Mulligan was a nominee at the Globes on Monday, but she's missing here, and she said is really, even though it didn't do much else at the Globes either, both have just one nomination for the film. I still think it's definitely, she's still in the race for sure. Just because she missed here today, I don't think it's the end of the world. But again, with 6 slots and she's not one of them, it's tougher. I'm sure we can go back almost every year. There's an example of somebody that missed here at Critics' Choice with 6 nominees and, still makes it in at the Oscar race. Let's see, off top of my head here, Best Actor last year. Who was the 5th? It wasn't Peter Dinklage or Nicolas Cage. I remember that. I cannot remember who it was. Like I said, we could spend some time on that, but I'm not. We'll be here for another hour, so I'm not going to do it. Otherwise, we'll see. Angela Bassett is now in at both. We'll see. For me, I have a little bit of a feeling that Black Panther, okay, it's been pretty popular at the box office and stuff. We'll see if it can maintain that through the rest of the season here, because I have a feeling it might start to slip a little bit in some of those tech categories too. Not to say it's not going to get anything at the end of the day at the Oscars, but I know early on we were thinking, okay, it might be, if it's not going to be, the way the first film was, which is like a 6, 7, 8 nominee type performer, if it gets in for picture and stuff like that. I've kind of been in the camp where it's like, okay, it's going to be in the middle of the field, still get 5 or 6 nominations, but we'll see. It might end up with only 2 or 3. I don't know. Or it could be, maybe it'll kind of be like Rocket Man, which was like projected to get into a bunch of races and then it only ended up in song, which you have to say, it's got to be the front runner in that category right now, right? I can't, other than maybe the costume and production design categories, I don't know where else Black Panther is kind of really threatening to be the front runner right now. But yeah, again, we'll probably talk more about that later. Let's see, let's move on to the ensemble category. Your 6 ensembles nominated here today are Banshees, Everything Everywhere All at Once, The Fabelmans, Glass Onion, The Woman King, and Women Talking. And I do think when we eventually do get to SAG, I'm not going to update SAG stuff yet, I'll save that for another time. Really, these 6 ensembles, and then maybe, unless I'm totally skipping another one, because, maybe Babylon. Probably just Babylon is the only other one I can think of right now, where it's like, for SAG Ensemble getting the top prize there, being a nominee, I should say. But generally speaking, I feel like that's just about what we're aiming there for that one. In the screenplay races, original screenplay, you've got Tar, Everything Everywhere All at Once, Banshees, The Fabelmans, and After Sun. Generally speaking, for this category at the Oscars, I think Triangle of Sadness, Babylon are also in the discussion for sure. Maybe Decision to Leave, and probably that's about it. We're probably down to those 8 or 9 there. In adapted screenplay, you have The Whale, Living, Glass Onion, She Said, and Women Talking getting in. For this one, I feel like yeah, Top Gun, I still don't say is getting in for screenplay. White Noise is a possibility. I'll still throw The Sun out as a slight possibility just because it is from a previous winner. So in case the guild is saves it, depending on who's eligible, and if it can, when the Writers Branch picks their nominees at the Oscars, since he is a previous winner, maybe they'll make wiggle room for him. But yeah, we'll see. Okay, let's get into the tech categories now. Cinematography, 6 nominees are Avatar, The Way of Water, Empire of Light, Tar, Fabelmans, Top Gun, and Babylon. Editing, you've got Babylon, Top Gun Maverick, Avatar, Everything Everywhere All at Once, Elvis, and Tar. So, I guess really quick we can say, Fabelmans is really the only one missing there where it's like, oh, okay, that might hurt it a little bit. I still think that one gets in at the Oscars, by the way. In the design categories, costume design, you've got Black Panther, Glass Onion, Everything Everywhere All at Once, Elvis, The Woman King, and Babylon. Again, maybe Fabelmans is the only one that's kind of missing here, where it might come back to bite it. Glass Onion, though, is in. So we'll see. Again, haven't quite caught that one yet. Stupid weather fucked me over the last day was in theaters where I could see it. So, yeah. I'm still feeling pain from that one. Production design, your 6 nominees are Black Panther, The Fabelmans, Avatar, Everything Everywhere All at Once, Elvis, and Babylon. For score, your 6 nominees are Pinocchio, The Batman, Tar, Women Talking, Babylon, and The Fabelmans. It goes without saying, Hildur is a double nominee here. She did the score for Tar and Women Talking. The song category, 6 nominees are Carolina from Where the Crawdads Sing, Ciao Papa from Pinocchio, Hold My Hand from Top Gun Maverick, Lift Me Up from Black Panther, Natu Natu from Triple R, and New Body Rumba from White Noise. So outside of the White Noise one, the other 5 were nominees at the Globes, which is kind of surprising. Most of the time the Globes will pick 2 or 3 songs where it's like, hey, these are really random ones that don't show up the rest of the year, but hey, that's kind of a first. The first, at least off the top of my head. For hair and makeup, 6 nominees are Babylon, The Batman, Black Panther, Elvis, Everything Everywhere All at Once, and The Whale. Visual effects, you've got Avatar, Batman, Black Panther, Everything Everywhere All at Once, Triple R, and Top Gun. The 5 nominees for animated feature are Pinocchio, Marcel the Shell with Shoes On, Puss in Boots, Turning Red, and Wendell and Wild. And finally, in the foreign language film category, the 6 nominees here are from Germany, All Quiet on the Western Front, from Argentina 1985, from Mexico, Bardo, from Belgium, Close, Decision to Leave is from South Korea, and from India, you've got Triple R. Okay. And I guess really, I didn't do this at the Globes yesterday, except for very, very briefly. Really quick for who's in the lead. Best Picture, I'm going to go Everything Everywhere All at Once. Director, I'm also going to go Everything Everywhere All at Once. You'll see why in a few minutes. Actor, Brendan Fraser. Actress, probably still Cate Blanchett right now. Ke Huy Quan will win Supporting Actor. Fingers crossed for sure. Supporting Actress is weird. Maybe Jessie Buckley since she's in. Otherwise, maybe, I've seen a couple people saying maybe Carrie Condon is now out front because she's probably going to be the most consistent nominee here across the rest of the categories. Because I can see Jamie Lee Curtis missing at a couple award shows. Stephanie Sue already missed at the Globes. Janelle Monáe, we'll see if she's in the mix. We'll see if, I don't know if Claire Foy, eventually she's going to maybe pop up here. Angela Bassett, I don't see that one winning. So really, I think since Jesse's already missed at the Globes, Carrie Condon is already probably going to be the only one to get across all the early precursors. So we'll see. And I think she's even picked up, if she hasn't won, she's been nominated at a few of the different critics awards here for supporting actress. Let's see, she did win at Boston Society of Film Critics, and I think that's it. Washington, D.C. also picked her for Best Supporting Actress. And I still say, when I saw that film, she was the act and the performance of the film that really took me, for sure. Ensemble is a tough one, but I feel like they're going to go, if Everything Everywhere All at Once is a threat to win 1 or 2 acting categories already, because Michelle Yeoh, I think, is probably the close, maybe not close, but she's in second place for actress, I think. They might go the Fabelmans there. They might just go a safer pick. And that one also has 3 nominees, too, in the acting categories. Screenplay categories, I think Everything Everywhere All at Once and Women Talking are your 2 winners there, probably. Cinematography, yeah, when we get to the tech categories, I'm just going to briefly just whatever with these. I'm going to go Avatar with that one. The first Avatar won cinematography at the Oscars. I can't remember if it won it here at Critics' Choice as well. Editing, Top Gun. Costume design is tougher. They might go Babylon or Black Panther. Probably Black Panther. Production design, I'm going to say Avatar. Score, I'm going to say John Williams, just because he's already announced retirement and stuff, so this might be the final go-around for him. I can see him getting nominated again next year when the next Indiana Jones film comes out. What's that one? The Dial of Destiny, which, the trailer looked all right. Not great, but I love seeing Sala in it, though. We can maybe we can talk about that one later. But Sala showing up, I didn't know he was going to be in it, so when he popped up, I'm like, it's Sala! I'm like, John Rhys Davis he's in a bunch of big franchises, we forget. He's in Lord of the Rings, he's in James Bond, he's in Indiana Jones, of course. So it's like he's been around. So I was like, glad that he's going to be in it at least. Okay, visual effects, Avatar. Song, I might have skipped over. Black Panther, Lift Me Up, and makeup. It's going to be down to Batman versus the Whale. I'm going to go the Whale. And real quick, animated feature, Pinocchio seems to be running away with it. Foreign language film, Triple R does have the Best Picture nomination, so I'm going to go that one. Okay. And I think the Triple R song, I think, is a threat to win in song as well. We'll see how popular it is at the end of the day there. Okay. I'm going to try to be as quick as I can here just with reviews real quick. Some further thoughts on Everything Everywhere All at Once, especially since I've had a little bit more time to percolate with that one. Yeah. This film had all the hype in the world. The trailer did not sell me. I think I told this at the beginning of the season, but the trailer did not sell me at all. I felt like, okay, I've been fine with the Marvel stuff, with what they've done with multiverse stuff. Generally speaking, just because it's like, okay, we know a lot of those characters. We followed them for maybe some of them for 10 plus years as they popped up in these different films like No Way Home and now this year with Multiverse of Madness and stuff. So I was like, okay, I can kind of follow that a little better. But with new characters in a new film where you have to start from scratch, I just the trailer was just too much for me. In the same way that the Babylon trailer was a lot for me to take in as well. But that being said, I can't say I 100% understand every last rule, every last thing that happened in the film, but was I entertained? Absolutely. Like Inception, like, Nightmare on Elm Street, or what's the other horror film? I reviewed it back in the day. It Follows. It Follows. The films like that where it's like, okay, they kind of drop you in the middle of it and you gradually figure it out. If, films like that are entertaining all the way through, where it's like, okay, even if you don't get every last detail by the end of the film, like Inception or like this film, you're still entertained. You still walk away saying that was an excellent, excellent film. I can't say the same for films like Dunkirk or Tenet or at times Interstellar. Just as a, comparison there. Definitely not for Tenet. Fuck that movie. I didn't like it. But no, this one, the acting was incredible. Michelle Yeoh, obviously she's been around for a long time and, and everything. But, man, she was good in this. Stephanie Sue, I had not heard of before, but, man, she kind of runs the gamut here for emotions and stuff. She has crying scenes. She has scenes where she's funny. She has scenes where she's very intimidating. Really an excellent, excellent, I don't know if it's her debut, but, man, she did a great job in that. Jamie Lee Curtis, again, I was talking about that a little bit on Monday. She's fine. It's a fun role. I really don't know why it's super into the Oscar race this year. It's kind of like a little bit like the Brad Pitt in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood thing, where it's like, that is by no means the best performance of the year, but somehow it's sticking around. I don't know. We'll see. But I gotta say, Ke Huy Quan, I gotta just save all the praise for him. This is a guy, it's like, yeah, we all know him, of course, from The Goonies and from Temple of Doom and stuff, but man, I did not know. Well, first of all, I didn't know he was still acting. Number two, I didn't know he had this in him, because he was a good child actor in those two films. And really, I can't really think of any other ones off the top of my head that I've seen him in. But it's like, yeah, he did a good job as a child actor in those. Not to say that being a child actor, is a different degree of difficulty than, doing something like Colin Farrell in Banshees or Cate Blanchett in Tar or something. It's not like, they're capable of doing just as good a job as adult actors are. But man, he was just so damn good in this. When he's the kind of sage character, the one who's bringing Michelle Yeoh up to speed on stuff, he does a good job with those scenes. He gets even a couple action scenes, which are really good, and he gets some emotional scenes. And I gotta say, this film, for me, it did have different emotions to it. There was one scene that happens about midway through where the Michelle Yeoh character is told to do something. And later, the fact that whether she does or does not do it really affects the rest of the film and a lot of the characters around her and stuff. But there's a scene where she's told to do something, and I'm like, no! It's seriously, it got me into it, and I was into the film at that point, but that took me to the next level where I'm like, okay, now, as good as this film was, now it's even better. So there's stuff like that. There's laugh out loud scenes. I'm just going to, I don't think it's a spoiler, but when you get to the different, versions of the character, the different multiverses and stuff, the rocks. That's all I'm going to say. The rocks. I just laughed my ass off for the whole time. The way that was so different, and it was so, reflective and so meaningful. It's like I got, it is almost like a meme, or almost like one of those old, back from the 90s or the early aughts, where it's like you had those posters up in, therapist's office and stuff, where it was, like a mountain view or a Grand Canyon or a valley or something, or a gully or something, where it's like, just get, not, I don't know, I'm trying to think of what some of the slogans were or whatever, or some of the phrases, but it was all like, you'll get through this day kind of things. Just the way they were satirizing that, that just made that scene even better than it already was. But yeah, I love that. But man, I gotta say too, though, there was one part in this movie, kind of later, into the third act, where I did tear up a little bit. There's one scene, I do feel like I would give it away if I said which scene it is, but it's a scene involving Ke Huy Quan and Michelle Yeoh in a different universe and stuff. One where they're not, they don't have the same relationship as they do now. And man, that scene, and then what followed it, the kind of lesson, that's there. God, that just hit me. That just hit me really hard. And the fact that it was two actors that were top of their game in the film, it was emotional for sure. And I do like, again, there's two really good messages the film has. The first one is, kind of experienced by the main character, where it's like, yeah, she feels like she's okay at a lot of different things, like she has a lot of different hobbies and stuff. And basically the message of the film was, just because you're not good at one thing, you're really good excelling at a certain hobby or a certain whatever. That means you're really close. That means you're good, almost really good at a lot of stuff. Basically, was the message of it, which I thought was a really good message, a really optimistic message. And then also it was kind of related to that emotional scene for me, where it's like, hey, you can have, you can be in the shittiest of circumstances, but as long as you have somebody at your side there that's not only loyal to you, but just completely there for you, is able to do the small things for you, able to do the big things for you, there's nothing better. There's nothing better than that. So those were two very strong, elements to the film too that I just really enjoyed. Marvel, take notes, because I know some people have been complaining with the two multiverse type films so far, Spider-Man and Doctor Strange. They're like, hey, you're really Multiverse of Madness. You only had 3 different worlds or whatever. It's like, take notes, Marvel. You can do 10 or 15 or however many different ones they did in this film. You can do them and do them really well. Just, this is kind of maybe a roadmap for you. So I appreciate that. Of course, this is, from produced. Is it produced or executive produced? I think it's just produced by the Russo brothers, who, of course, have made their stamp on Marvel for sure. So, damn, I don't know what else to say. Really entertaining film, very well acted. Literally every element of it is good. The cinematography was great. The editing was great. Costume design was great. Production design was really good. The visual effects were good. And I read somewhere the visual effects were only done by 6 artists, which I guess I can look it up on IMDb right now and see if it's true or not. But still, man, that's incredible. A story like that, oh yeah, I can see that making the field for visual effects, and it is on the short list. So it's got a better shot for sure on that one. So, damn, yeah, that's all I got to say for that. Damn, it's a 10 out of 10. Not only is this the best film I've seen all year so far, and I haven't seen everything. I skipped a lot of stuff, and I'm catching up now. Or skipped or missed, I should say. Most of it is missed because Tar for sure I wanted to see. Nope, I wanted to see. Fabelmans I definitely want to see. But man, this is one where I was pessimistic not going into it. When I watched it, I was like, yep, I do want to watch it. Not because I have to, because I did want to, because I wanted to see what all the buzz was about. This is one of those rare ones, like Parasite, where it's like, yep, it lives up to the hype, and possibly exceeds it. Like I said, not only is this the best film I've seen all year, this is better than any film I've probably seen in the last couple of years. I liked it better than Belfast and Coda last year. I liked it better than Nomadland and The Father and Minari in 2020. This is up there with Marriage Story, Jojo Rabbit, Ford v Ferrari, and Parasite, of course. It's up there with Black Klansman. It's up there with a couple of those other films from the last 5 or so years. It is damn good. So just because it's about 2 hours, 20 minutes, just because it is kind of, not heavily, but it does mix in and out between subtitles and stuff, don't let that scare you. This movie is worth it. Trust me. All right, then we're going on to Nope. Really quick, again, I'm trying to get through as fast as I can here. And Nope doesn't seem like it's making much of an impact on the Oscar race, but because I loved Jordan Peele's first 2 films so much, Get Out and Us, and I am a defender of Us, I loved that one. Not as much as Get Out, but they're, if Get Out is here, Us is like here. They're really close. Both of them were films I gave a full score, 10 out of 10 to. Nope is a 4 out of 10. This was underwhelming. This is the definition of underwhelming for me, unfortunately. With this one, I just got to say, the concept, which, again, I don't think I'm giving anything away, but aliens, it does involve aliens, and what they do with it in the film, it just did not drag me in very well. It just did not interest me. There were two side, kind of subplots, kind of more or less. They kind of both of them kind of coalesce around one character, but both of these were much more interesting than the alien stuff. The first one is how the film opens, which is something, and then they later flash back to and show a little bit more of. It's only about 5 minutes or so, but everything with that, I was like, show me more of that. That's weird, and it's right in the wheelhouse of Jordan Peele. Versus Aliens, it's like, okay, we've seen alien shit from every last director on Earth, pretty much. That's had a long-standing career. Spielberg has touched it dozens of times. So on and so forth. It's like Aliens just feels, we've been there, done that. And flying saucers and stuff. And then there's all the stuff with Stephen Yeun, his character, and the theme park that he's running and stuff. That stuff I was a little more interested in. And some of his backstory, which again does lead into the first part, which again, I'm not going to quite give away what that first thing is, because when it pops up, I was like, I'd heard a little bit of rumbling of it. And so when that creature popped up, I was like, oh, that's right, people talked about this a little bit. They said it has something to do with this. And I was like, oh, okay, we're going there. And I'm like, oh, yeah, that's cool. But I do like that. All the elements with that, I was like 10 times I was more invested in that versus the alien shit. And part of that, too, is Keke Palmer. I liked her character a little bit, but Daniel Kaluuya is a fucking wooden post in this movie. I'm sorry. And he is obviously very capable of giving great performances. Look at, for me, Widows, in a smaller role. He stuck out in that film. Or, of course, his award-winning performance, Academy Award-winning performance in Judas and the Black Messiah, where he, maybe I would have voted for Paul Raci, but he was obviously second in that race for me, for Judas. He was so damn good in that. But, and part of it, I think, is just his character. His character is very mellow, very laid back and stuff, but I'm sorry, he just looked like he was sleepwalking through this film. His character was uninteresting. He and Keke Palmer did not really have, they're not a couple, they're siblings in the film, but even then, there was very little chemistry between the two. I didn't always buy them as brother and sister. I kind of liked the nerdy guy that was kind of into the tech stuff. He was all right. I was very interested in the cinematographer character, and his role is kind of brief, and then he shows up a little bit later in the film. He's in most of the trailers, so I don't think that's a giveaway that he's, through the film. But I was like, okay, his stuff was kind of interesting, but they very briefly dwell on it. And another aspect of the film that I thought they really could have delved into more, and it for me would have been more fun, is the fact that the Kaluuya and Palmer characters, are they raise horses for and break in horses for film crews and stuff, and they go on to different films and they use their horses for the film and stuff, and they talk about like Scorpion King and stuff, and it's in the trailers and stuff. But the first images that were put together to form moving images was their great whatever grandfather and all that stuff. It's like that stuff for me. I was like, show me more of that. I thought that was cool. I don't know. Maybe it wouldn't have sustained the whole film, but it's like if they maybe delved into that a little more, I think it would have invested me a lot more into the characters, so that when they do the alien stuff, okay, yeah, then it would have been cool. I think I would have enjoyed it more. But otherwise, I think it's Michael Abels who's done the score for the last couple of Peele films. His scores in those two films, Get Out and Us, are terrific. His score here, outside of maybe a couple Western kind of heroic themes, which I thought were really cool, just was so minimal. It just didn't jump out at me at all. I would even say the whole crux of the film, what they're really going for, involving the flying saucers, what you see at the end, it's like, okay, you spent the whole film trying to get the, what you wanted out of the flying saucer, and what you get looks like shit. And it looks exactly like everything you were trying not to get. So, I'm sorry, but the whole film kind of feels pointless by the end. It's like, I feel like in real life, if everything had happened, and, the next scene would have been, them trying to, as they say, go on Oprah in the film and stuff, they would have turned them around. And I swear, I should have looked, because seriously, as soon as the film was over, I was like, damn, I think Peele missed a big opportunity here that would have probably increased my score of the film up a point or two, and maybe would have made me recommend it. It could have been like a post-credit scene that was that damn good. And I picture this right in his wheelhouse comedy-wise, because there isn't really as much abject comedy in the film. Outside of, there's a couple like reactions and stuff, probably some of it probably improv on the set and stuff. But between some of the characters, that's kind of amusing. But outside of that, I didn't really get too many laughs out of the film. If the film would have ended with the Palmer character and the Kaluuya character like being sat down by a government official because of everything that happens with the flying saucer in the film, and then behind there it's like a one-way mirror or whatever. Behind there you see Jordan Peele and you see Keegan-Michael Key with like a thick mustache or something. And they're both government officials, or you could even say, I know it's not the right studio, but you could say they're like Men in Black or something. That'd be funny. They're kind of standing back there and they're saying, "So you think this is going to go anywhere?" And Jordan Peele would be like, "Nope," and then that would cut, and that would be the end of the movie as a post-credit scene. And maybe that's there. It felt seriously, my mind was turned. I'm like, that's exactly what Jordan Peele would do in a situation like that. But unless I missed it, it's not in the film. I didn't skip to the to see if there was an end credit scene, but. Man, I was like, that would have made the whole movie, I think, better if you would have ended it on a really, possibly very funny joke like that. But, nah, instead, it is what it is. So, yeah, unfortunately, Peele was batting 1,000 through his first couple of films and really cementing himself as the kind of modern go-to director for horror. But with this, it is more sci-fi and stuff, but no, I got to say nope to this film. I can't recommend it. 4 out of 10. Finally, we'll go to Tar, which I watched last night, and I was a little not hesitant, but I was a little looking at that runtime and saying, okay, it's a film about a conductor, but it's over 2.5 hours. It's like, what story can they tell that makes it, justifies that length and stuff? And I gotta say, I was very surprised because not even 2 hours into the film, I kind of looked at my watch stuff like, okay, it feels like we're maybe halfway through. Oh, damn, we're at 2 hours. And there's only about a half an hour left of this thing. It did not feel its length at all. It felt like a movie that was maybe a little over 2 hours, but it did not feel like over 2.5 hour movie for sure. Todd Field is getting in for director. They love the artsy fartsy shit. So like when he does most of the end credits at the beginning, yeah, that's getting nominated for sure for that. Cate Blanchett shows, as always, that she is arguably the most dependable, greatest working actor right now in the industry. She's terrific in this. At times, it's not an easy role either. I mean, she goes into a lot of the stuff, and obviously, obviously she's reading a script, but it's like the way she feels lived in with like discussing Bach and discussing Bernstein and discussing all the lives that have helped shaped her life and everything. Just the way it feels lived in. That can be a little harder to pull off than just reading it off the page. Any dumbass off the street can do that. But the way Cate Blanchett performs this thing and makes it feel lived in and everything, that's tougher. That's a lot tougher to do. And I think she is not only equal, but she exceeds expectations, even with 2 Oscars on her mantle and another 5 nominations on top of that she didn't win. Yeah, she is damn good. Nina Hoss I also liked in her supporting role. He's on Game of Thrones, but Julian Glover shows up in this, or Glover, I forget how it's pronounced. But he has the most memorable line in the film for me is he talks about, I always had my hangers facing the same way in my closet, because he talks about how he grew up under, I don't think he was under Nazi occupation, but around the time of the Nazis and stuff. And it's like, oh, that sums up more than any speech or any monologue or anything that he could have given in that moment. That sums up everything in just one concise line, and that makes you that's a line that sticks with you in the film. So I that part I really enjoyed. But yeah, as far as the actual story of the film, this actually I think had a lot more to say than I thought it would. It kind of talks about not only a love of music, so it does have it does give you flashes of like Amadeus and some of those other films that are about that. It also kind of deals with cancel culture a little bit, which is something I, again, did not expect to show up in the film, and I don't think it's a major giveaway to say that. I think it would be a giveaway to say like some of the particular plot points involved, but it's like, oh, we kind of do see, okay, she's very well respected. They list her in the film as an EGOT, which is, look that up if you don't know what it is, but awards nuts like myself, we all know what that is. And everything, not to condescend, but it's like, no, it's yeah, that was my fault. You win an Emmy, a Grammy, an Oscar, and a Tony. So she's won all those in the film. So I'm like, hey, that's kind of cool. They, make a fictional one like that. But yeah, look into like some of the people that have won EGOTs. That's more fun than anything I say. But no, with that, yeah, they do get into that. They go into how her politics differs with from other people's politics and stuff. Yeah, so yeah, that's all good and everything. I do feel like, again, once we get to that around the hour, what was it? Again, about the time I looked at what time it was and stuff. After that, it did start to slow down a little bit. I feel like the epilogue of the film, how it ends, does go on also a little bit longer than I wanted it to. There's a couple characters that get, some more screen time where it's like, okay, they end up not being as, significant to the rest of the plot and stuff. I'm thinking of one particular soloist that kind of gets a big chunk of the second half of the film, and it's like, she doesn't really end up being all that special. Which arguably is part of the story, but it's like, I don't know. I that part I kind of started to fade out a little bit into. Yeah, so I feel like it's still an entertaining film. I give it an 8 out of 10. It has that lull spot after you get past the, I guess it'd be, again, around the 2-hour mark or hour 45-minute mark, somewhere in there. It does lull a little bit. And yeah, it just generally, again, I talked about it a little bit last year with like the Tragedy of Macbeth, where it's like you get into some of these like, classical music or Shakespeare or stuff, some of these kind of older, they've been around for decades and decades and centuries even in some cases. Some of that stuff, it's like, ooh, I get an interest in it, but my enthusiasm starts to wane by the end. It's good. For me, it's better and more entertaining in shorter spots and stuff. But when you digest a whole lot of it in one sitting, it's like after a while, I do kind of get turned off a little bit. So, yeah, I generally feel like that's that one. So, still, Blanchett for sure, absolutely, yes, is worth seeing the film for. But other than that, it might be a film if you watch it, you might skip around a little bit. I can definitely picture some people doing that. Okay, so that should be everything. The only other 2 films that are out now that I can watch, I haven't gotten to yet, are Elvis and All Quiet on the Western Front. I might get to them in the next few days. We'll see. Yeah, it'll be a little bit before my next video, guys, just so you know. With the Christmas holiday coming up and the New Year holiday, and we do get a kind of a break from Oscar stuff anyways. Really, the next big event is going to be the SAG Ensemble, or Screen Actors Guild Awards, where they'll hand out those nominations, plus the shortlist. The shortlists will be out. Do I have a date on that? Let me see. Do we have a date? I don't know if I can skip some ads here. Let me see. Hold on. I'm not seeing it here. Yeah, I'm not seeing where the date is. Oh wait, here. It might be here. Looks like the 21st. So that'd be a week from today. Okay, so that one will be my next video probably. When we get that, so we'll be able to clarify a little bit in some of those tech categories and stuff, and the shorts and everything. But no, yeah. Otherwise, we're probably going to take a break till we get closer to SAG after that. Anyhow, so that all being said, with our first two major award shows having announced their nominees, with critics groups picking films like Everything Everywhere All at Once or Tar. Let's see, I can pull up really quick. I was going to pull up because I think LA film critics had some different choices in there too. Everything Everywhere All at Once and Tar tied for best film. That's right. And actually, kind of funny. S.S. Rajamouli was runner-up for best director to Todd Field for Tar. That's right. Yeah, they did. That's right. I forgot. They did the gender-neutral performances and stuff. So they picked two, which is weird because it's like, why not just say their best actor, best actress? Because they picked two performances, a male and a female for lead performance, and then a male and a female for supporting. Why not just have a category? Fuckheads. It makes no sense. Anyway, so yeah. Otherwise, yeah. L.A. is that one, and then New York picked Tar. I remember. So yeah. Anyways, so that all being said, I talked about it a little bit on Monday. I've officially done it. I have put Everything Everywhere All at Once out front now for Best Picture. The Fabelmans, I think, and again, I know I just made the argument, yeah, box office is not everything right now, especially for the dramas and stuff, but look at Everything Everywhere All at Once doing over 100 million domestic. That is one of those rare films where it's like, it feels like it should have done, in a conventional, time and everything, pre-pandemic and everything. Arguably, it could have made anywhere from 25 to 50, maybe even a little more million, kind of about the range the Parasite did. And then maybe a little bit more if it did hit. But the fact that went in a pandemic like time at that, and this was kind of early in the year and stuff, in March and everything, to do over 100 million, that shows you something. And the fact it is sticking around, it was a critical darling, so it's not a huge surprise that it hit really well with some of these early critics prizes and stuff. But topping the nominations at Critics' Choice and being tied second most nominations at the Globes, I feel like this is a film that everybody's liking. It's very much in the vein of Parasite, where even the people that don't love it, and there are going to be some voters for sure in the Academy that just don't get it or just don't want to watch it because of the subtitles and stuff. Their number will be small enough, like it was for Parasite, I think, where it's still going to not have too big of an issue to win Best Picture. The Fabelmans I have in second place. I'm putting Banshees ahead for third place. Women Talking I have now down in fourth place. Tar in fifth. Then Top Gun Maverick. And then Elvis. I'm putting Avatar in now for 10 films for Best Picture. I'm sticking with All Quiet on the Western Front for now. And dropping The Whale and dropping She Said, I have put in Babylon again for that 10th slot. Again, thinking, okay, the reviews when they come out here in the next probably week or so, they're probably not going to be 90%. They might not even be Avatar's reviews, which last I checked was mid-80s. Yep, it's 82, which I think is identical to the reviews for the first Avatar right now. Yeah, they're probably not even going to be that. They're probably going to be closer to the Vice or Post, films like that, which were in the 70% on the Rotten Tomato meter and stuff. might be even lower. But even a film like Don't Look Up in the 50% range on Rotten Tomatoes, even that still got in for, what was it, 3 categories, 4 at the Oscars that year? So, yeah. So Babylon, especially with the fact that it's going to do pretty well in the tech categories, I think it's in. So, I think you have to look at The Whale, Glass Onion, The Woman King, She Said as still possible contenders there. If we do have the way we got Drive My Car in last year, if Triple R hangs around, I would say that one is now much more in the race than it was even a couple days ago. I feel like that's generally the list right now. Director's race, I haven't changed way too much yet. I've got the Daniels is out front now for Best Director. Then Spielberg, Todd Field, Sarah Polley, and I'm sticking with Edward Berger in there. James Cameron is really close, I think. McDonough is really close, but he did miss, remember, for 3 Billboards here a few years ago. Even Rajamouli, I think we have to look at a little more seriously now. So, and possibly Baz Luhrmann. We'll see if Elvis can go even further. If it can maybe get into like a WGA or something, maybe then we'll see if DGA's going to go out on that limb and put him in. Which, as I recall, they did for Moulin Rouge, if I remember right. I believe he was a nominee at DGA that year. If I'm remembering right. I'm going to triple check myself right now. And I don't see him on the thing there. No. Okay. He was up for Best Director at the Globes and at BAFTA, though, for that film. And that, even though he didn't get into the Oscars for directing, he still... that one still landed a Best Picture nomination and everything. Sticking with my 5 for Best Actor, that's Brendan Fraser, Colin Farrell, Austin Butler, Bill Nighy, and Hugh Jackman. And really, at this point, I'm not in the Top Gun, getting in here, Tom Cruise thing. I look at this as a situation where, again, the acting branch, it's going to be, I think it's more like a De Niro thing. They know it's going to be a Best Picture nominee. They, National Society of Film Critics, National Board of Review, rather. National Board of Review, by the way, did name Top Gun Maverick their Best Picture of the Year. Just so I do count that one, too. But no, I do look at it that way, where it's, they know he's going to be, as a producer on the film, he's going to get in and get his fourth or fifth? Oh, boy. Fifth? Fourth. He's going to get his 4th nomination as a producer on Top Gun. But no, I do not see him making the 5 here. It's going to be a Paul Mescal, Jeremy Pope, probably to upset and get that 5th slot, but we'll see. Going over to the Best Actress category, I'm sticking with my 5 again on this one. Cate Blanchett, Michelle Yeoh, Michelle Williams, Daniel Deadwyler, and Olivia Colman. Again, I think Margot Robbie and Viola Davis are definitely going to be fighting for a slot here. We'll see if Naomi Ackie can bounce back. I think SAG is kind of her last shot there, but we'll see. In the supporting acting race, I did make a change here. Ke Huy Quan is still out front. Then I do have Brendan Gleeson now in 2nd place. He seems to be pretty consistent across the board here. Paul Dano and Judd Hirsch I both still have in. I'm putting Barry Keoghan now in for Banshees as well. So I remember early in the race I had, a few years ago here, I had 2 guys from Trial of Chicago 7 and 2 guys from... at one point I had 3 guys from Trial of Chicago 7 getting into supporting actor. I also had 2 guys from One Night in Miami, I believe, in at one point. On and off. So it would be the first time in a long time that I can think of a situation like that. Ben Whishaw, I think, is still in the race. Brian Tyree Henry, I would say, is not gone yet. Eddie Redmayne, I can see bouncing back and getting a SAG nomination. He could be kind of like a Jared Leto for little things. He could pop up here and there and still get in. Brad Pitt, we'll see if Babylon goes over really well with the Oscars at the end, but yeah. And I'm still thinking Jeremy Strong has a shot at SAG. But Oscars, I'm going to hold off a little bit. Supporting actress, I've made a couple changes here. Jessie Buckley, I have out front for Women Talking. Carrie Condon now in 2nd. I have Carey Mulligan actually in 3rd for She Said. And I do, right now, I'm saying both Stephanie Sue and Jamie Lee Curtis both get in for Everything Everywhere All at Once. This would be Jamie Lee Curtis's 1st nomination. She's got 8, I counted now. 8 nominations now across TV and film at the Golden Globes. And I don't know, it's weird. It just feels like one of those things where it can happen. Again, don't discount Claire Foy or Hong Chow yet. Definitely don't count out Angela Bassett yet. Possibly, if Tar overexceeds, I can see Nina Hoss kind of being like that supporting actress from Roma getting in. Let's see, who else? Yeah, I would probably stop there. In the screenplay races, original screenplay I have the same 5. That's Everything Everywhere All at Once, The Fabelmans, Banshees, Tar, and Triangle of Sadness. Adapted screenplay I have 4 of the same 5. I have Women Talking, I have The Whale, I have Glass Onion, I have She Said, in that order now. Live changed that. And that 5th slot feels weird to me. It kind of, remember the worst woman or worst person in the world was that was kind of a surprise nominee last year. I'm going to go off the wall here for adapted screenplay, that 5th slot. I'm not going The Sun. I'm going Pinocchio. Just feels weird, but it's like, I don't know. That one's going to get a couple nominations otherwise, so possibly now with, I think, score. We'll see about score, because Giacchino, remember he got in almost everywhere a couple years ago now for Midnight Sun, but then he just didn't show up at the Oscars, so we'll see. And let's see. I think we're going to stop there. I haven't had a full chance to look over because just off Gold Derby, they don't have stuff yet for like song or what's the other categories they're missing? They're missing a couple other categories here. A sound category they're missing, and then makeup they're also missing. So and I think they do wait on that till the shortlist comes out. Visual effects, for whatever reason, we know the shortlist for that one, or maybe these are just the first ones. How many is there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19? That doesn't make sense. I think they just threw this one in. I thought I read something about the visual effects, like so many films were missing from the shortlist or something, but I'm like, no, they wouldn't do that. So, yeah. They do have that category here now on Gold Derby, but, yeah. I don't know. Again, the early bet on that one is just Avatar, for sure. Okay, I feel like that's enough for today. Once again, we'll be back when the shortlists are out. That will be in a week from today. So we'll probably do it that day too. But yep, we'll be back for that. Otherwise, yeah. Otherwise, if I have time, I'll catch up with a couple of those other films, and we'll catch you next time.